constitutional amendment.
Well, thanks, Margin. Yes, I immediately got in touch with Congresswoman Donna Edwards, whose district overlaps mine in Maryland, and we began to work on an effort immediately. I saw this decision as threatening three radical changes: one, in the nature of our democracy; two, in the nature of our constitutional law; and three, in the nature of our economic system. To begin with elections, you know, I think it was our last great Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, who spoke of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And the idea is that democracy should reflect the interests and the needs and the desires of the people, and we all participate. And we bring with us what our self-interests are, but also the founders believed in something called an enlightened self-interest, which is that we try to pay attention to the common good and the public interest. And in his brilliant dissenting opinion in the Citizens United case, Justice Stevens says, corporations have no conscience, they have no feelings, they have no sentiment, they have no thoughts, they have no desires. In fact, they have only one purpose by law, which is to make profit. To the extent that a corporation deviates from that purpose, they can be sued by the shareholders. So what we've done is we've introduced literally trillions of dollars of wealth into the political process that has only one purpose, which is to reproduce and expand the wealth of the corporations that are spending it. And that threatens a really radical change in our notion of what democracy is. That's much closer to democracy of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations. But the second change is to our jurisprudence. I mean, in order to see how radical a decision this is, you've got to understand that it was the most conservative justices throughout American history who took the position that a corporation is not a person, that it's an artificial creation of the state legislatures. That goes back to Chief Justice John Marshall in the Dartmouth College case in 1819, who said, corporation is an invisible, intangible entity chartered by the state legislature for business purposes and bearing only the rights conferred upon it by the state legislature. And now suddenly, you know, Justice White said in a case called First National Bank of Boston versus Bellotti, the state need not permit its own creation to consume it. And now in this 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court has essentially said the state must permit its own creation to consume it. We've got you know, the Frankenstein monster has broken free from its creator. So the doctrine that a corporation has no political rights is one that has the imprimatur of Chief Justice Rehnquist, of Justice White, who said, look, corporations are endowed with limited liability of the shareholders, perpetual life, favorable treatment of the accumulation of assets, and so on. All of these direct economic subsidies and benefits conferred by the state, and how can we endow them also with the political rights of the people? And finally, if you think about it, I think the vast majority of American people accept the free market idea that people can form businesses and go out and compete. And if you innovate and you create and you develop better products and you make money on that, that's terrific. You reinvest the money in the business. But this decision promotes what even the Republicans in the primaries are now calling vulture capitalism or crony capitalism, because it gives power to the corporations that have the most wealth to use that wealth investing in campaigns to have power over politicians and over the legislative process. That is not economically productive. That's not going to be conducive to economic growth. That's going to be conducive to a kind of economic cannibalism. So I think that this is the most radical Supreme Court decision of our lifetimes, and we've amended the Constitution 17 times since the Bill of Rights. The vast majority of those amendments have been about the political rights of the people, like women's suffrage, and the 15th Amendment giving people the right to vote regardless of race, and abolishing poll taxes in the 24th Amendment. And this amendment is very much in the mainstream of our constitutional history. It's the people declaring that we are the sovereigns of the country, and we're not going to let the collusion of a handful of Supreme Court justices and corporations take our democracy away from us.